He could have talked to him. He's blue in the face. I've never forgotten that story. I'm making my cheese sandwiches. Number 4, humor speaks truth to power. A witty remark is a time-honored way to challenge the pompous, the puffed up, and the powerful. Jesus deployed humor in just that way, exposing and diffusing the arrogance of some of the religious authorities of his time. Humor is a weapon against the arrogance and pride that always infects us. Always, because we're human. And sometimes infects our church. A friend of mine told me, I just saw him this weekend, his mother was in the hospital at the same time that a local bishop was. This is nowhere near here. And, just so you know. And the bishop came by and went to my friend's mother and said, the thing they tell you never to say in pastoral counseling, "Well, dear, I know just how you feel." And she said, "Really, when was your hysterectomy?" And my friend, and what happens was, the bishop thought it was hysterical. They became friends, and he was invited to celebrate her funeral mass, and he told that story to himself. You know? He was able to laugh at himself. Number 5, humor shows Christian courage. As I mentioned, St. Lawrence showed his courage to his torturers during his execution. It was a challenge to his executioners and a profession of faith. A joke like that, like "turn me over," says, what does that say? I do not fear death. In that same vein, St. Thomas More in the 16th century, as he stepped up to the chopping block to climb up to his beheading, said to his executioner, I pray thee, help me on the way up. I will take care of myself on the way down. What does that say? That says, I do not fear death. That's a sort of prophetic humor, right? I know that my Redeemer lives. That's prophetic humor, I think. Number 6, humor deepens our relationship with God. One of the best ways of thinking about prayer is as a personal relationship. This is a theme of a lot of books. Father Bill Barry from the New England province writes a lot about this. Prayer as a personal relationship. So what does that mean? Well, like any relationship, our relationship with God starts off with infatuation, right? When we become religious for the first time, or oh my God, I love going to church, I love reading all these spiritual books, and this is great, it's beautiful, and oh, I went to Glastonbury the other day, and it was so moving, and I went on an 8-day retreat. What is that? That's infatuation. Oh, my prayer is so beautiful. It's so moving. And well, guess what? Like any relationship, it settles down, right? You can't be, all married couples out here know that infatuation and that sort of fever pitch doesn't last. Like any relationship, our relationship with God settles down. It goes through some dry periods. Sometimes it can be difficult, rocky periods. Sometimes there's lots of silence, right? Does God always have to be talking to you? My friend, Sister Maddie Taberry, who you might know, who's at Gloucester, says, even if I don't hear from my friends, I know that they're still my friends. Right? It's like God. You have to hear from God all the time in your prayer. So, the same things that we can say about our relationship, we can say about our prayer. You know, by analogy. It's obviously not the same. Our friends have not created the universe, although some of them act like they do. So here's a question. Healthy relationships can use humor, right? What kind of relationship would you have? Oh, you know what? I'd like you to meet my best friend. Here's my best friend. Oh, you guys must have a lot of fun together. No, we never laugh. Ever. And what kind of relationship is that? That's a strange relationship. And yet when we think about our relationship with God, we think it has to be very serious. Excuse me. This is all vodka in here. I know, I shouldn't joke about that. I'm sorry. Scratch that from the thing. We are so serious about our relationship with God. Can you imagine being joyful with God in prayer? Or imagine God being playful with you, right? Can you allow God to, as the book of Isaiah says, take delight in you? One of my first spiritual directors I talk about in the book was a fellow, maybe you know him, Father David Donovan, who was a Archdiocese of Boston priest who entered the Jesuits. Lovely guy. He was in Amesbury. He was all over the place. He used to say to me in direction, "The Lord takes delight in you, Jim." It's very strange to hear that. Can you imagine God taking delight in you? Can you allow God, in other words, to be playful with you? Can you allow God, can you say to yourself that the wonderful or funny or unexpected things that happen to you, especially things that make you laugh at yourself, might be signs of God being playful with you? If you think of the metaphors of God as parent, which doesn't work for everybody, but when we're relating to God as parent, we're relating to God as the best possible parent. You do know that parents sometimes enjoy being playful with their kids, and vice versa, right? For myself, I like to think that surprising moments in life are times when God is being playful with us, you know? I'll tell you a story on myself. I grew up outside of Philadelphia, and my mother still lives in a town outside of Philly, and 2 4th of Julys ago, I was at home, and I found out that the local parish where I grew up was going to do my book, My Life with the Saints, which makes a perfect gift for everyone in your family, as a book club, right? So, you know, like after communion, sometimes people get up and they'll do a little talk about something. So I called the parish, I was home, and I thought, well, I'm going to call them and see if the pastor, who I know is a very nice guy, would like me to do like a little promo after communion. So I called him up and I said, I left a message. Hello, Father, you know, this is Jim Martin. I'm home for 4th of July. I heard you're doing my book as a book club. Do you want me to come and say a little thing after communion? So we come back from dinner and there's a message in our machine. Oh, hi, Jim. Thank you so much for offering to say Mass tomorrow. All the priests are laughing. Parish priests work their butts off. And so he said, I had five Masses, 2 funerals, and a wedding this week, and I'm so happy. So I called him back and I said, I wasn't exactly offering to say Mass. I said, I don't even have any clerics. All I have is a pair of shorts and sneakers. And he said, we'll give you a long alb. Come in and say Mass. So I whipped up a homily, and I thought to myself, it was the first time I'd been to my home parish since my first Mass. And I thought to myself, I'm going to tell this on myself because we're all human. I thought, how wonderful for the parish. What a blessing for them that they would be able to see a person who came from their midst and is coming back, and it's just so, isn't that wonderful for them? So big head. So the rest of the story is that I have 2 nephews, one who's 11 and one who's 4, and the one who's 11 was never religious, ever. I go to these religious conventions and I talk, and I try to be good catechist, and I bring them stuff back, and he says, oh, is it another Bible? The other one's very religious. He's 4. In fact, when I was in Lourdes recently, I'm pointing to Father Mark like he's Our Lady of Lourdes. We were in Lourdes together. His older brother has a statue of the Blessed Mother that glows in the dark, right? Which is very nice. And he wanted one. This is a digression of a digression. And he wanted one, and he said, I want one just like my brother. So I went to Lourdes, and I got him a statue of Our Lady of Lourdes that glows in the dark. And I got him a little, two statues I got of the Blessed Mother, because I knew they'd like this, who changes colors when the weather changes. If you've been to Lourdes, you know that that's true. Which, as far as I know, she did not do in real life. So get this. So this is a digression. So I bring them home. Oh, he loves Mary. I have my glow-in-the-dark Mary, glow-in-the-dark Mary. And then the Blessed Mother who changes colors has glitter on it. Oh,